Good morning and welcome to Fast Horses Today. Today is Friday. It is January 9th, and this is the Friday of the second day of the race week for Santa Anita. So they are back up and running. Looks like the weather should be nice there, so we should see 4 straight days of racing over at Santa Anita. So good for them and good for us who like it. So they've got a first post time of 12 o'clock Pacific time, so that's 2 o'clock here in the Central time with the first race. Now, in today's card, I found it rather difficult to make some multi-race wagers. So in studying over it, what I did find is I've got a couple win bets that I do like. I think there's some decent prices here to make some win bets with. And let's get started there. We're going to go over to the second race of the day. The second race has an approximate post time about 12:30 Pacific, so that's 2:30 here in the Central Time Zone. And the second race is a starter allowance race. They're going 6 furlongs on the grass, and that's the flat grass. And this is, your typical starter allowance race that they're running out there in Southern California. Now, this is one for non-winners of 3 races, so they've kind of added that condition some time ago and give people a chance to run for another starter level allowance, non-winner of 3. So I've got a win bet here that I like here, and this is on the 2-horse who is Crazy Cavalier for the Doug O'Neill barn. And Doug O'Neill legs up Ismael Jaramillo. Now, we've talked about Jaramillo before. You know, he's new to the California jockey colony, and it was really kind of at the request of Doug O'Neill. So, it really, does make sense that he's riding for O'Neill here. I'm going to guess that he'll ride probably first call for the O'Neill barn. I mean, seeing that Fresu is out with an injury, that it should just give more chances for Jaramillo. Now, Jaramillo's gotten off to kind of a slow start. He's 1 win out of 13 starts, but I know he's a very capable rider and probably should do much better than that. So this horse here, 9-2 in the program. This horse has been, running in this starter level allowance, has a win last time out. Horse has been running in longer races. So, he's going to be shortening up here to 6 furlongs. And really based on, who's in this race and how this horse is run, I don't really see the shorten up to be any problem here. And also, with the lack of training that's been going on there in Southern California, because of the rain, because of the bad weather, that maybe, this horse coming off longer races going into 6 furlongs, I think maybe it would be a benefit for him. So I could see this horse sitting a nice trip. Looks like there's speed inside of him with Case Hit. Looks like there might be a couple other horses, outside of him that could go. Smart Code shows a propensity to run up close. That's the program favorite. And, I could see Jaramillo just sitting in behind and, making a move. So he should be finishing up rather strongly, based on his last races. So 9-2, Crazy Cavalier, I think is worth a win bet here in the second race at Santa Anita. Now, I know the third race is a maiden special weight for a mile on the dirt here, and these are 3-year-old boys. So these might be your future stars, here in the 3-year-old ranks. I know Bob Baffert's got a couple horses here. I'm not going to bet this race here. I guess we'll just watch and see how good a couple of these horses will be. There's some short prices here in the third race. But I am going to move over to the fourth race. The fourth race is where I do have another win bet. This is another 6 furlong grass race. So that's on the flat grass, of course. These are California breds, and these are first-level allowance horses. These are fillies, and they're 3-year-olds. So 3-year-olds only, so newly turned 3-year-olds. As of last week, happy birthday to everyone there. And these are 3-year-olds only. I do have the win bet here that I'm going to make, that being on the 5-horse, who is Cecilia Street. Cecilia Street comes in for the Leonard Powell barn, puts up Mirko DeMuro on the horse. Now, DeMuro's had a couple rides over this horse, with this horse, and DeMuro's actually broken the maiden here. So I really like the way Powell brings this horse into this race. Now, this horse, in her last 3 starts, it really seems like she's woken up. I mean, they put her a mile on the grass, which would have been her first 2-turn test. I thought she ran a very nice race in coming third here at Santa Anita, at a mile on the grass. I thought she ran a very nice race. It seemed like the winner just kind of got away from everyone and took the lead and just, wired the field. But I like the way Cecilia Street finished up there. She followed that up with a really nice race over at Del Mar at a mile on the grass. So this girl's certainly shown, a propensity to do well on the grass, and it makes sense. I mean, she's by an unusual heat mare, so unusual heat we know was certainly a really nice grass horse and a nice grass sire. And the horse is by Stanford. Stanford, generally, are sprinters there in the Cal ranks, but Stanford's shown some horses, some offspring to do well on the grass as well. So be that as it may, I think 6 furlongs on the grass should really do this horse some good because we've seen that she could run on the grass, and of course, with her breeding by Stanford, sprinting should be no issue. Now, last time out, she took on stakes performance there in the Soviet Problem over at Los Alamitos. She ran a nice second to Liberation. Now, I'm not going to put huge stock into that race. It was only a 5-horse field. Liberation is certainly a nice horse and probably one of the better Cal-bred horses, in the 3-year-old ranks this year. That's a John Sadler horse. So running, next to Liberation is certainly a nice accomplishment. That was on the dirt. Of course, they only run dirt races there at Los Al. So moving back to the turf, I think she should, be really well primed here at 4-1. We'll see if we can get 4-1. There's a couple other horses that, probably take some action. So my guess here is if we can get 4-1, I think it'll be lucky. She might go off a little lower. But, as I like that other horse there in the second race, I think that Cecilia Street should sit a nice trip. Mirko DeMuro's been riding very well, doing everything right, no matter what surface, no matter what distance, he's been riding exceptionally well. So I could see him doing well here for Leonard Powell. And Leonard Powell needs to get off the schneid. He's 0 for 13. And, that's not customary for him. We know he's a good trainer, certainly very good on the grass. It wouldn't be a surprise to see Leonard Powell start winning races in bunches very soon. So we'll make a win bet in the 4th race on the 5-horse Cecilia Street. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Friday, we've got a couple win bets on this card here on January 9th. And we're going to go into the 2nd race here and make a win bet, that being on the 2-horse Crazy Cavalier. We'll go to the 4th race. We've got a win bet on Cecilia Street. Now, those are the bets I'm going to make today, the win bets there. If you choose to make these bets, I wish you the best of luck. Maybe you want to use some of these in your multi-race wagers and your pick 3s, or maybe in that early pick 5, whatever you decide to do. I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing on this Friday. Let's wish ourselves some good luck and some good trips, as we know that really makes a big difference in winning races. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today and listening to the picks. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It just delivers the content to you for free. Think of it as like your own personal Uber Eats that doesn't charge you. You can always like, dislike, make comments, good comments, bad comments. I promise to respond to everything. Let's create a discussion. That would be wonderful. So again, thanks so much for watching this Friday's coverage here. And, we'll be back over the course of the weekend for more coverage at Santa Anita, the great race place. So let's get this weekend started in a winning fashion with a couple of these win bets. Have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you back for Saturday coverage at Santa Anita.